Hey now, I'm trying to work on. I hear Howard Stern do it. He's got a much better radio voice than I do. Hey now, hey now, hey now. So, hey now.
He's
Well,
something of a professional.
yeah, he's a professional broadcaster, so it has something to do with it. Anyway, welcome to episode number 62 of the Batman on Film blog. I am the founder of Batman on Film, Bill Jett Ramey, and with me is Garret Grev, and we are still hunkered down in our respective homes, whether it be
Yeah.
Texas for myself or Minnesota, greater the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul area. So, Garret, how you doing, sir?
Doing pretty good. I broke down last night and gave myself a quarantine haircut. I'm just kind
Okay.
of seeing that. Just me, a buzzer, and a hand mirror in about 40 minutes of trying
So,
not to mess up.
hey, it looks pretty good. So, I
Do it
haven't
yourself.
got brave enough to do that yet. So,
You still
um,
look pretty. You're looking pretty well put together still,
yeah,
though. You're keeping it tight. Yeah. 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 Oh, yeah.
I know a guy. I know
Announcer
a guy.
Rachel must be skilled or
Yeah, I
something.
know a guy. So,
Sure.
yes. All right. So, we're going to get right to it. As we all suspected, the Batman has moved its release date, pushed it back 4 months,
Yeah.
more like three almost. Think about June from June 25th, 2021 to October 1st,
Yeah.
2021. So 3 months plus a few days. So that kind of makes sense in terms of how much filming time they're going to lose. They're going to lose probably about 3-4 months when it's all said and
Yeah.
done. You know,
Yeah, and they didn't they actually didn't halt. I guess I don't know what was getting filmed versus what was just sort of, not in front of the camera production, but production was
yeah,
going on a little bit while later than some of the other big movies that halted earlier. But yeah, 3 months, 3.5 months, somewhere in that. I mean, that's a big dent to take
yeah,
out of the filming schedule, no matter what kind of production. We talked about that, I think before, maybe that was just you and me. Reeves is doing a lot of more pre-production than post-production on that. But even with that 3.5 months, it was going to be tough to ever even imagine keeping that same date.
yeah. He did apparently did a lot of stuff that would, or not. I don't say a lot, but he did some things in pre-production that would usually be done in post-production,
Yeah.
along with the fact that they're using. I refer to it as the Mandalorian process, where they don't use green screen and they
Yeah.
use these big high definition monitors, with real live backgrounds and whatever, um, in place of the green screen while they shoot on a soundstage. So that apparently takes it takes away from a lot. What's the word I'm looking? It doesn't. It makes post in that regard quicker. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You sort of have a smaller distance to jump between just plain green screen and needing to add everything in digitally to having a starting point and then going in to do the finishing touches. I think of it. I think it's a fascinating, filming tactic. I think of it as like a sort of like high tech digital version of the old matte background
Yeah.
paintings that you
Yeah.
had in
Yeah. Yeah.
movies forever, where here's this matte painting, maybe it's done on glass, and it's done
Yeah.
on different textures. It looks kind of like a physical environment, and then you film the actors in front of it.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that, only a very
Yeah.
modern high tech take.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So, um, just personally, I'm disappointed. I'm not disappointed that it's moving. I have to wait almost 4 months to see it. That's not it, because it's not all that long. But I just, to me, Batman is a solo Batman movie belongs in the summer. That's the only thing. And I know times have changed where, like Joker released the same weekend, made $1 billion worldwide, and we've seen it happen before with other films, and
Right.
not films released not during the summer or not during the holiday season. But as someone who remembers going to see Jaws when I was 10 years old, which was kind of the beginning of the big summer blockbuster, and Batman
Right.
'89. I grew up with these tentpole tentpole films coming in the summer, and it's just, you had the 4 Burton Schumacher films, you had the Dark Knight trilogy released in the summer, and the Batman was scheduled for June 25th, which was very almost like the same weekend as Batman '89, and I was excited for that. But is it that big of a deal anymore, Garrett? The release date? I mean, is there still some prestige when it comes with a summer release?
I think there is. Now, some of that shine, I think, is going to dull over time because, we've seen that, February release movies can make $1 billion. Black Panther did that, right? Joker last year in October. So financially, I don't think there's a huge difference, but there is something sort of in our like collective, mental place about this steam we have for the big summer blockbuster. Like the concept of that hasn't gone away. And I think to Batman '89, and I think it was the same year. I was pretty young when those were released. But Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Batman '89, I was just a young tyke, and it was a super hot summer that year. And we didn't go to a lot of movies growing up. We lived far out of town, and movies don't cost what they cost today, but they're still expensive. And so we just wasn't something we did all the time. But that summer was so hot. That was like, we can't just be outside all the time. The kids are gonna, they're gonna get sick or pass out or something. And I remember driving in the car, windows down, and like stepping foot inside of that theater, like out of the blinding sun. It was air conditioned, and popcorn, and a icy cold high C or something, and walking into that theater and watching with a packed crowd in a nice dark air conditioned theater. Batman and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Those are the 2 movies I remember from the same summer, if I'm not wrong. And that I feel like is still a thing. And that, I'll miss that a bit, but I'm patient. I'd happily wait 3 months or even a year to get the highest quality product. But it is a little bit of a bummer. We were kind of hyped on that summer release. And I know, just within BOF, some of the viewing party stuff we were planning on, it will adjust some plans for that. And some people might not be able to make it or whatever. That's the part that bums me out. But I'm still pretty happy that as of now, we're going to get it in 2021.
Yeah, I am too. I as much as I love the summer release, I don't think I was willing to give up waiting for it another year, which would be 2 years from now, essentially, to see it. And I'll say this, I'm trying to say this without as being as the least spoiler-ish as possible, because we had talked about maybe it being released in November on the 23rd or 4th, anyway, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving of 2021. And that's part of the holiday release season, and that's kind of like the second most prestigious next to summer. But I think there's I'm sure they looked at it, and I think when they decided on October 1st, due to something in the film, the October date made more sense than a month and a half later or what have you. So I'll leave it at that.
You had a comment on the BOF Facebook page. I think it was yesterday. I think it was to our good buddy Ryan Lauer, if I'm not mistaken. And you said something along these same lines where I'm like, Bill's saying just enough that I think I get where he's going, but not enough that I feel like I should pick up and text him right now and be like, hey man, what is this thing? But if it's, it seems like it could be maybe seasonally festive and appropriate, which would be outstanding.
Yeah, that's kind of, So
sure.
I think, and how I want to put this, I think that releasing it at Thanksgiving wouldn't work because the closeness between the prior holiday from Thanksgiving. Does that make sense? There's a holiday before Thanksgiving. Okay?
It would feel,
and there's a holiday after, but the one before I'm talking about. So leave it at that. So I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm like, man, Batman, that's a summer movie, but I'm okay. I'm all right. I'll live. I'll survive.
I think if there's a reason to tie it into what we're talking about here from a release date, and if this thing, the landscape of what movies are going to look like and when they get released next year, we still don't have a great understanding, but there's not a lot on the docket yet. So I think, to a previous conversation we had around planting your flag, do it now,
Yes.
so then
Yeah.
other studios know, like, we're not going to go up against Batman. And if we are,
Yeah.
it's going to be maybe a kid-friendly animated show or something else to counter program. But
Well,
because we don't know what
yeah. Yeah. Go
because of
ahead.
the
Go ahead.
production schedules, we don't
Mhm.
know what's going to be ready to be put out. So
Yes.
the landscape of what might be competing against that might not be so great. So I think about going in years and decades past when you'd have a very long theatrical run, just because the amount of content wasn't anywhere near what it is today.
Hmm.
You could actually get a October holiday run out of
Yes.
this movie.
Yeah.
It could very
Yes.
well run into
Yeah.
Thanksgiving because of
Yes.
the legs and lack of competition. And then you're bumping all the way up in December. We could see this movie sit in theaters and multiplexes for weeks and weeks and weeks in a
Hmm.
different way than it would have at a different time of year, or in a different year, not with the current global.
Okay. Speaking of right now, here's apparently what is around the release date of October 1st, 2021. All right. On September 24th, which would be the weekend prior, Paramount has the untitled My Little Pony movie. Different, I'm just saying, different audience there, right? So,
Yeah.
completely. And then there's an untitled Universal event film the same weekend. No idea what that is. So then the following weekend, of course, October 1st, you have the Batman. You have an untitled 20th Century Studios film. That's the same weekend as the Batman, of course. And then the week after is the Uncharted movie, which, okay,
If that
now,
even gets filmed, if that even gets filmed, if Uncharted has had such a spotty track record, and I think they were going to.
Is that its original release date, October 8th? Or did they move already?
They moved, but they have
Okay.
not even been. They, like, pre-production has been in the works, but it's been in the works for years. So I don't think they're
Yeah.
significantly down the road to actually getting this thing in a theater to
Okay.
hit that date.
Okay. So anyway, as of now, Uncharted on October 8th. There is an untitled Disney live action movie. No idea what that is. Doesn't say Marvel or anything like that. On the 15th of October, you have Hamilton from Walt Disney, and then you have Halloween Ends. You got a Halloween movie coming from Universal. October 22nd, The Addams Family 2 from United Artists, an untitled 20th Century Fox studio film. There's also West Coast Girls. I have no idea what that is.
I don't want to venture a guess. Doesn't sound fit for public cinema.
Yeah. Then the 23rd, the October 23rd, Fatherhood comes out. And then we're into November. And then on the 5th, you have Doctor Strange 2. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That's another comic book film. Also November 5th. You have the one I'm looking forward to is also coming from Warner Brothers, is the untitled Elvis Presley biopic.
Yeah,
that's coming.
I saw that when they had the announcement around the WB flicks and their changing schedules. I saw that Baz Luhrmann Elvis flick on there. I'm like, oh man, those got to be so torn. Like, what am I more excited for? Maybe it's not quite as close as some would suspect, but I'm sure it's going to be some big movies.
Yeah, I'm excited for this, but the Batman. Come on. And then on November 12th, you have. Now we're getting into over a month. We're getting over a month of being in release. You've got the third Fantastic Beasts movie from Warner Brothers.
Yeah, so, December. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're getting there. So we're getting the November period of time. They got a chance to make a little hay there for at least a month, huh? Don't you figure?
Yeah, and I think of some of those movies, just given where they are, won't stand there. Some of the other studios that move their dates out first, I think, Uncharted is an example of that, and some of the others that I heard you name. I think that might have been with a bit more optimism around when production would really start going again, and we've legged on, and there's no sign that it's going to be business as normal within the next 2-3 weeks, right? So
Yeah.
some of those I think will get pushed out, and we could see a nice long run, in the fall here. It's going to
Yeah.
be, it's wild to think about, from a television standpoint to what makes it to the theaters, what entertainment content is going to look like after this,
Yeah.
whether it's return of like movies of the week to network TV now, and reruns of reality shows because you can't even film those. It's going to be nuts. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have a lot fewer movies in theaters that are having
Mm-hmm.
a lot longer
Mm-hmm.
runs,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to be it's going to have an impact for sure.
You think what would be the odds if I said, hey, what do you think the odds are it moves again? What would you put it at? What would you put it at? Or you think this is probably going to be where it drops? You can't say it won't for sure. I don't think you can.
Yeah,
I can't.
I think it's more likely than not to stay where it is.
Yeah,
I think obviously there's certainly the chance that we just can't safely get things up and going, which would push things. But in that case, I start thinking summer 2022, not, I don't know, maybe a Christmas release, but it's you get into the Christmas releases, and you have things like Avatar that have typically been programmed and have done huge business, but they're sort of big general audience, even if they're PG-13, general audience, accessible, blockbuster, thrill, adventure movie making, not what it seems like we're getting here. I don't know if the audience is conditioned to, and this is Batman, so it could break all the rules, but I would think at that point we're more likely to be looking into spring or early summer of 2022 than a bump later into 2021. But I think more likely than not to stay.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree with you. And also I would say that in terms of what's being released around it, I think it's got a lot going. Number one, it's Batman. Okay. It's the first solo Batman film since The Dark Knight Rises. And like it or not, some people, the fact there's a curiosity to see Robert Pattinson as Batman. I just from a variety of angles. I mean, you're going to have he has a strong fan base from the Twilight movies. Say what you want about the Twilight movies, big fan base. They were very successful, and that doesn't define him as an actor. I'm sorry, that drives me nuts because does Newsies define Christian Bale as an actor?
Hey, Newsies is a hell of a film. That's just fine. I'm okay.
Yes,
Newsies is great.
No, nothing against Newsies, but I'm saying he's more than that.
Totally. But I think it could be a good thing. You think about the largely huge group of rabid teenage girls that were such huge fans of those movies are not typically what we would think of as like prime Batman ticket purchasers, right? And Batman's thing, maybe you say, well, Garrett, everyone goes see Batman. Forget about that. But I don't know that that's a group of people that typically would be like, waiting on their tenterhooks to go see the new Batman movie. But if now, 10, 12, whatever years later, from beginning of Twilight, those same teenage, young women are now in their late 20s, are looking our path of to go see Batman. That opens a little bit different of a slice of the audience than maybe would have been beating down the door for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just case in point, I've had a lot of Robert Pattinson fan pages, social media pages, follow Batman on Film when he was cast, So I don't think that's the reason why he got the gig. Is, hey, let's get that guy from Twilight because he's got this huge fan base. No, he got the gig because he can act his ass off. So, but I mean, hey, look, Warner Brothers isn't saying, oh no, we don't want that sort of publicity because of Robert Pattinson's other I mean, come on now. That's all publicity for the most part is good publicity, and he's going to bring a fan base in from other stuff. And it's, like I said, people will be curious to see, I want to see this dude, see if he can pull it off, whether you're skeptical or you're already or if you've already bought in like I have. So that's just a factor.
For the audience that have watched him and watched he's done with his career, and how he's sharpened his skill set, they'd be intrigued and definitely want to check this out to see what this dude does with Batman. And then for people that haven't, it could be the other side to say, oh my gosh, look what Edward Cullen, how does he do Batman? So I don't know that there's those things don't have to be mutually exclusive either, by the way. But I don't think there's like a bad angle to come at this thing from. Either you know him because he was in those big blockbuster movies, and maybe you've got this curiosity, or you used to be a big fan of those shows and you want to go see this, or what he's done as this very skilled, very articulate actor in these indie movies, and want to see now what he does bringing that back to a blockbuster.
Absolutely.
It's fine.
Yeah. So as of now, we'll see the Batman in about 2 years, and I don't know what, about 2.5 years, I guess, from now. We're in April. Yeah. It's to October, which October is my birthday month. So yeah.
I think I've only been to the site on phone. Remember the BOF site. I don't remember if I saw, did you update the counter? Is the countdown changed?
I will have to do that. Thank you for reminding me, sir. So thank you.
Do it.
Thank you very much. I updated the everything about the Batman page. I updated the Batman Watch Party page. I got to go do the counter. Yep. I'll do that right now since we're going to be leaving. Anything you want to plug, Garrett, real quick before we take off?
Man, there used to be comics that I would review. There used to be sports that I would talk about. Now you can follow me on Twitter at GARRETWATO. You'll either see me argue with my friends about the value of staying at home during this thing, or what the NFL might look like in the future, or updates around whatever I'm doing with my kids as we survive the days and weeks as this keeps going on.
We're gonna get football this fall from the NFL. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think it's a usual season. I don't think it's a regular season. I think we get football. I think at any rate, without OTAs, with a shortened preseason, the game will look different to start the season if we get a full-length season. I'm starting to lean towards we either don't get a full-length season, or we get at least the first half of the season without fans in the stands, which could be
I can't imagine watching a football game with empty stands. I can't. And that's just someone who goes to lots of Dallas Cowboy games during the year. I'm thinking, okay, if they do open it up and fans can go, am I going to want to go with 90,000 people after all this?
That's the next question. Yeah. Or I was thinking about it's if we don't have fans in the stands, what does that open up? Different unique camera angles and viewing opportunities to record and show the game. Will how we view the game on the screen be significantly different when you aren't largely held to sideline cams and wire cams on top? If you can do a 360 camera run, call it, I don't know, 15 rows up pointed at the field, that can change as the plays go on. It could open up some interesting possibilities. I've been trying to stay real positive through all this.
It's going to be odd. I wonder if college football is played, because my son is graduating high school. He's not going to have a ceremony. But they're saying that the fall semester at college, not just here in Texas, but maybe throughout the country, will be online. They won't even be attending class on campus.
Wild.
Yeah. So how do you do that? And you bring back your student athletes,
Right.
Right.
Lots of luck.
To play football when you're not letting the others
learn, right?
You're not letting the others
go to class.
The other ones can't even come on campus. High school, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird. Okay. All right. So follow me on Twitter at Batman on Film. And we'll see if the Batman holds true to 10/1/21, and we'll let you know if it doesn't. All right, so for Garret, I'm Bill. Batman on Film, authoritative, definitive. Garret, you want to finish up here?
The Dad Gum original.
Sounds just like a Jack Pine Savage, sir.
Yeah.
Very good.
Absolutely. You know it.
All right, we'll see you later. Thanks for watching.
All right. Bye-bye.